All right, Pod. You might notice we're somewhere different. We're in my apartment, but we got a huge slate. I'm going to set the scene really fast. There are a lot of great rivalries in sports. You talk about the Yankees-Red Sox, Lakers-Celtics, Michigan-Ohio State, Natty versus Natty champs. You know what Blake said about those Buckeyes? They fucking hate them. In my opinion, there is none bigger than the one in Chapel Hill this weekend. Duke versus North Carolina. Duke, number 2 in the country. North Carolina needs a win to make the tournament. We're going to talk about that and more on TalkBall Tweakers, episode 12. Yep. Jake's apartment version. So, let's
talk ball.
All right, guys, welcome back. My name is Jake Mazarski, joined with my co-host, Toussaint and Blake McQuarrie. Always, we got 2 guests. Brendam, Trader, Benedict Arnold Lunga, and a new guest that I'll let introduce himself.
What's going on, guys? Matai, Swain, just graduated from Michigan State, a buddy of Blake's, and now I'm an old head who likes to talk ball.
Yes, sir. And we'll get Michigan State. That's on Sunday. That's going to be a huge one. Congratulations to the Michigan State Spartans, outright Big Ten champions.
Green, baby. Let's
yeah.
get it.
Guess who called that? Go watch it back, Pod. So, let's get into it. Where are we starting?
We're going to go quick hitters from NFL, because we have NFL news, if you guys didn't know. So Geno Smith traded from the Seattle Seahawks to the Las Vegas Raiders for a 3rd-round pick.
Originally owned by the New York Jets.
That's decent value, so that's probably going to be a high round 3rd, huh?
Decent value there. And then, of course, news out of Cincinnati, Trey Hendrickson requested a trade from the Bengals. Some news on around NFL. We're just ramping up free agency real quick. So, you know.
Is Trey Hendrickson going to the Detroit Lions?
No. He's not.
I don't think so.
They need an edge rusher.
We need an edge.
And Trey Hendrickson's...
They do.
Draft somebody.
He's their type of guy, too.
They might draft the guy from Marshall. Mike Green, I think his name is.
He's crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
Country of sex.
I ultimately think that they might just got to try to go draft somebody.
They're going to draft somebody.
But I don't.
James Pierce Jr. is dropping.
I wouldn't.
Draft.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
That's a name to keep out for. A name to watch out for. He's dropping in the draft. He was a top 5 pick, and then now Carter forced him to drop in the draft. They said they don't like his attitude issues. So
yeah.
That's a great pick for the Lions.
I think Detroit really wants to rely on their talent watching, their scouting. I mean, their scouting's been phenomenal.
Having to pay a big edge rusher anyway is like, because of the Max Crosby deal,
yeah,
they're gonna have to pay.
That's what I'm saying. The market's raised now, so it's
OD.
Whatever. So
Hendrickson's gonna make a lot of money. Here, I'll
Yeah.
take that for a second. Cincinnati Bengals. Who the fuck do you think you are? Respectfully, I totally understand keeping T. Higgins. I totally understand paying Joe Burrow $50 million. I totally understand Jamar Chase is going to make north of 45, right? He's going to be the highest paid receiver in the league. Every year you have a top 5 defense or offense in the league, and your defense can't stop a nosebleed. And when you run into a Pat or a Josh Allen or a Mickey Mouse Jackson, it's not going to go well. It's not going to. No, I love you, Lamar. I just threw that out. I just threw that out there.
Why does Lamar just catch such straight?
Because he lost to Josh Allen in the playoffs, my friends.
I understand. Yeah. It's whatever.
Cincy, you got some problems. And, you had a guy who led the league in sacks last year, and now you're going to let him walk. And I don't think the return's going to be that good. I think it's going to be fine. Are they going to get a first out of him? No. I don't think so.
Yeah, I might get a low first.
Low
If
first?
they play hardball, but I feel bad for Joe Burrow. I feel really bad. He can't win. You can't win if your team refuses to pay. Everyone knows it's a quarterback, a receiver, and an edge rusher. You got a quarterback and a receiver. You don't have a star edge rusher. You can't put pressure on the defense. You're trash as a defense. And then you're just back where you were last year. They were the worst defense in the NFL last year. And then now you're giving away your best pass rusher.
What do you have now?
Nothing. You have Jack Squat. No. You got Jack Squat. So,
worse.
Yeah.
And Sam Hubbard retired.
And your drafting isn't that great. They're drafting. It's not like they have a great draft department. They're cheap everywhere. They don't have any money to spend because the owner refuses to do it.
So, crazy fact about the owner, I'll give you real quick, man. So, I don't know if you guys knew this. I don't know if it's all the sports, but at least in the NFL, he's the only owner that's not a billionaire. So
No way.
Yeah,
Really?
I was
Okay, that makes sense.
I was intrigued about why he keeps doing stuff like franchise tagging T. Higgins, not really paying or wanting to pay Jamar Chase, even though he's the best receiver in the league, or top 3, not debatable.
Not debatable.
You know, leading edge rusher, and you're contemplating not paying him and forcing him to seek a trade after he just led the league in sacks. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, what the hell's going on? And it popped up, and he's only NFL owner. That's not a billionaire. So
That's crazy.
It's cheap,
I didn't
man.
even know that.
Lunga,
Lunga.
you're really quiet.
Well, if the Eagles showed us anything, it's that you don't defense doesn't necessarily win you championships, but you need some guys on defense if you along with your offense if you want to be a Super Bowl caliber team.
Yeah.
And you're losing your lone guy on that defense in Trey Hendrickson, and now it's like, what else they got?
Yeah.
And like Joe Burrow can win you some games, but you're not going to contend against the quarterbacks in the AFC like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson if you don't have guys on defense.
Yeah.
And it's that simple. I mean, the Bengals are putting themselves in a spot where they're not going to be a contender in the AFC until they get some people on that defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you can keep tagging T. Higgins all you want, but it's not going to make you a championship contender.
Let's quick fire this. Where does Trey Hendrickson end up?
You know, we love him to end up is, of course, Detroit, baby, but
Yeah. I see the need and want for him in Detroit. And obviously as a Detroit Lions fan, I want him to be in Detroit. I just don't see the urgency on Detroit's side to get that done. I'd honestly, I would see more of an urgency to go get Myles Garrett than Hendrickson.
Because you need a power rusher. Like Hendrickson's
That's what I'm-
pure speed.
Exactly. So
Exactly.
yeah. So it's I just don't see the urgency from Detroit. I think a team like maybe Washington or
Shout out Josh Felton.
that's a good one.
yeah, I would say maybe Washington definitely explores that for sure. I think that's the team that I'm going to go with.
Washington's one of those teams like the Bengals that like they got the offense, but you need some guys on that defense.
Yeah.
And the D line is not as bad as their secondary is, but like you get a good defensive end, and like that team can really go to the next level. So anytime I see anyone on defense, like a star on defense, come up, like Washington's always a name that I'm looking for because one or two more guys on that defense, and they really
Loaded, man.
they're loaded, and you know that could really be the difference.
The Indianapolis Colts. Psych. Not actually. I was gonna say I was gonna say Washington too. Low key, I like the Los Angeles Rams, especially if they trade Cooper Kupp. Jared Verse won Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's an absolute monster. They need another edge rusher, and they got to the quarterback. I mean, they sacked my glorious king Sam Darnold 9 times. I'm a huge Sam Darnold guy, by the way. I would jump off a bridge. I'd jump off a bridge for Sam Darnold. I like him in Los Angeles because the Rams they're gonna. I don't know if they're a contender, but I mean, what they lost as Super Bowl champions by 1 possession.
They're up and coming, though.
Yeah, exactly. Give me LA, especially if they trade Cup because then you free up a lot of money. Washington too. I mean, they're releasing Jonathan Allen. Money.
I think 2 teams to look out for. One, the Bears. I think the Bears. One, I think they know they.
It's a real good one.
Yeah.
Don't let Hector hear that.
Yeah, I don't. Hector's gonna hear this and he's gonna get excited and know that he knows. But like, I don't want him to go to the Bears, obviously, because I'm Lions fans. But like, I think Bears are one. I think another option for him are the Packers. I think the Packers could do something there. I think the Packers are really young as a team, and they could use the experience and the pass rush. Their defensive line for the Packers isn't bad, but like Trey Hendrickson would really up it, and so
Imagine him alongside Rashawn Gary.
I mean that'd be
Power
nasty.
rush and
Yeah.
speed rush kind of combo.
Yeah.
But for my number one is Chicago. I think he's gonna end up here. I think Chicago is looking for good key pieces, and he's a 1-year rental because it's a contract year, so you don't really owe him too much money, and you don't have to. I don't think they're gonna give him a contract extension anyway. So
And the Bears make moves. They
Yeah,
got 2
yeah.
linemen. They got Ben Johnson. Like,
when they come to Ford Field though.
that's
telling you.
They get cursed on.
wait. Let them make the playoffs first, and then they'll
Let them not finish 4th in the division.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like the Bears are finally look like they're all in, especially with Caleb Williams. That like, and by all in, I mean they'll go 10-7.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
for the Bears, we'll take that. Like,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting and seeing where he ends up. Should we move on to NBA?
Yeah. Oh wait. Geno Smith.
Geno Smith, very fast.
Yeah,
You want?
Geno Smith got traded to the Raiders an hour ago for a third-round pick. It was the pick of the New York Jets. Screw you guys. We're not going to talk about the actual trade, but screw you guys. So, yeah, that's all I wanted. Sam Darnold to the Seahawks. Send him to CenturyLink.
All right. Moving on to NBA news. Let's talk about what happened in LA tonight, and not the game.
No.
Pull up the song.
Except pull up the LeBron song.
Episode 11.
So I will mention the game because while the Lakers defeated the Knicks last night in overtime, LeBron James had a few words to say to Stephen A. Smith. Honestly, I'm just going to pull the clip up for the podcast. So, yeah, LeBron confronting Stephen A. Smith last night, basically telling him to, quote, keep my son out of this shit, bro.
You should have slapped him like Will Smith.
Like the Will Smith.
That would have been so funny.
That would have broke the internet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about it. Thoughts? I mean, it's insane. Nonetheless.
So we were over here chatting before we started, and my opinion is, man, Bron saw the camera. He peeked and saw Stephen A. Smith and put on his best. You know what? Bron is the best actor, not only in the NBA, but I think in all the sports, honestly, man. He saw that, and he confronted Stephen A. You know, he peeked up at the fans' camera once or twice and made his point, man.
Is it just another rendition of LeBron James creating a situation for himself and then crying when people talk bad about him? He did it with he cries like 2 weeks ago about being the face of the NBA when he's the man that put the chosen one on his back with a tattoo before he even got in the damn league. He cries about everyone being mad at him for creating super teams when he goes to Miami and then goes to Cleveland, goes to LA, and now he does this where he's a Nepo baby, Bronny James. And of course people are going to be upset about it. And now he's upset that the media keep getting Bronny into this when he is on the LA Lakers. Like, what do you want? You're not going to baby him like he's in high school or in college anymore. He's on the Lakers.
Okay. Yeah, you just added a lot of ammo there. Yeah. You just added a lot of. I had something to say. All right, number one, you said he cried. First of all, he's not crying. Anytime, as a father, if somebody starts to talk about your son unnecessarily, because let's be honest, the things that Stephen A. Smith said were very unnecessary. Okay. First of all, we are past the point of Bronny James potentially being drafted by the Lakers. When they were talking about him being drafted to the Lakers, it was like, okay, that's a valid topic. You know, he's a Nepo baby. But we got over that hump. He's continuing to talk about Bronny as if Bronny is relevant. Bronny is just doing what Bronny does. And if we don't recognize as a society that the man that, okay, if Michael Jordan got his son a job on the Bulls as a G Leaguer, people would be complimenting him. But all of a sudden, because Bron does it, all of a sudden people have a problem with it. There is so much nepotism in the world, it really doesn't matter. And who am I to say that the man hasn't earned the fact to keep his son on the team? I mean, he's LeBron James. That's not even Glaze. It's LeBron. And I know what you talk about, he keep crying this and crying that. We could go we'll have our episode where we talk about LeBron in depth and his whole career. We'll get there. I don't want to take up too much time with that. I just think, like, for me personally, like, LeBron has done so much to get to this point, and I don't have a problem with Bronny keeping the spot. We know the 55th pick is irrelevant in all of history, so it really doesn't matter that he has Bronny there on the team. It was kind of funny that he walked over to Stephen A. Smith in a timeout and said that to him. That was pretty nuts. So if you want to say something about that, I understand it. But, like, it's Bron. Like, keep my son's name out your mouth.
Very fast. All right, I'm totally with him. But Bron, you literally, before you were in the league, you said Bronny could hoop with some of these guys. And so if you're gonna say that, you better expect people to talk about him. Also, he's your son. But you're right. Keep him on the roster. He'll be fine. Like, you're our glorious king. Do what you want.
I just think it's insane that LeBron James gets more scrutiny for getting his son in the NBA, and Michael Jordan gets no scrutiny for his son getting arrested for driving impaired while on crack. Like, what are we talking about? His son is literally driving cars while he's on crack, and we are not talking about Michael Jordan. But we are acting like LeBron is the worst person in the world for getting his son drafted to the Lakers with the 55th pick. Can somebody name a 55th pick ever in their life right now? Like, why does it matter who gets drafted at 55th? This has never mattered in the NBA. Kyle Guy.
Isaiah Wong.
Like, what are we?
Aaron Wiggins. That's one.
That's a valid one.
Hey, Marcus Page.
That's a valid one.
Let's see if there's
Anyone else?
Patty Mills.
That's valid. Two that are valid. See, like Luis Scola's a goal, but that's my point. Is like this. I just think it's insane. He's getting more scrutiny for this, and Jordan's son's out here sniffing lines in fucking Bolivia. Like, what are we talking about? So I just think it's insane.
Dating his teammate's mom, his teammate's wife.
And then, like, come on, like, we don't even know what's going on over there in Jordan House, bro. Like, some insane shit is going on in Jordan
He was
House.
on his way to send that to Jordan.
Jordan's too busy gambling his money away. Give it Caesar. So
the ceiling is the roof.
So that's my thing, and it's like, yeah, okay. Here's my thing. Bronny might not be NBA ready yet, but he's balling in the G League. He's averaging 22 points in the G League with like 5 assists and 6 rebounds or 4 rebounds, something like that.
Turning it over that
Like,
much either, bro. Like,
if you go and watch Bronny James's highlights from the G League, and I understand it's G League, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't. Yeah, but that's the thing though. Is like there's still some valuable hoopers who have came out of the G League who have produced for good teams.
Ron Harper Jr.
And they have been great assets to teams. So if you go and you watch Bronny James's highlights in the G League, you can see that he is a very high IQ basketball player. He knows what he's doing, and he moves very well, very well. Athletically gifted, obviously. So I understand why it's getting talked about so much in terms of, because Brian probably shouldn't have said, he can play half these guys right now. Probably shouldn't have said that.
I mean,
but it's his son. It's his son. So I would do the same shit for my son.
Also,
So it's like,
rank in the top 50 craziest things LeBron has said.
no, it hasn't. It hasn't. I mean,
That's my favorite saying.
that's my favorite saying. Okay,
What's your favorite part of this book? I mean, there's so many. There's so disrespectful. Like,
You're just such a great guy.
so yeah.
One lace up, I knew he was gonna drop.
That's my favorite saying. That's my favorite saying.
That's my thing. Is like, I just think we should give Bronny James time. This kid has came back. He almost died on a basketball court at USC. So cardiac arrest, like went into cardiac arrest. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. If I went into cardiac arrest playing basketball, I would never play basketball again.
That's respect.
Like, at the end of the day. So that's my 2 cents on it.
I will give you that Bronny gets too much criticism, and I will give you that the media talking about Bronny is a lot of it is unnecessary.
Yeah.
But LeBron, you can't baby your son anymore.
He's 20.
Bronny is what, 20, 21 years old.
You are the podcast villain.
He is 21 years old, okay? He is a member
He's a pro.
he's a professional on the Los Angeles Lakers in the Gatorade League, okay? You cannot go up to Stephen A. Smith and confront him about what he said about your son. That is Bronny's job to do, and I guarantee you Bronny did not ask his father to go do that for him. If your father now, one of y'all's father, went up to somebody, the dean of Northwestern University, and like, how could you do this to my son? You would be horrified. Like, that is what it's just. You cannot baby your son.
Bronny can't go up to Stephen A. Smith. He doesn't have that cachet yet.
But
he got that.
But still, it's not LeBron's place to do it.
Can we also hold Stephen A. Smith accountable though, because he mentioned this morning on First Take no one contacted him from LeBron James's camp. In the same clip, he was talking shit about Bronny a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
He started the whole rant off by stating that he had people who are close to LeBron James contacting him. So he's contradicting himself. Are they contacting you or are they not? 2 weeks ago, you just said, before he went on the Bronny James rant, says, I have people that are close to LeBron James contacting my phone.
Yeah.
And then you open up First Take this morning before you go on your rant again, justifying what you said, and then you say, by the way, no one from LeBron James's camp has contacted me. Which one is it? That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. What are you doing?
Benedict Lunga.
Oh my gosh, bro!
This guy's a traitor.
Lunga's
Actually is a traitor.
Lunga is the TalkBall Tweakers podcast villain.
I'm doing this for all the MJ fans out there. I know y'all are out there. But look.
Oh, I'm an MJ fan, bro.
No, you're not. Stop
Dude,
the bullshit.
look at my freaking
Stop the
backpack.
bullshit.
Are we
Stop
doing
the
this
bullshit.
right now?
No, it's a UNC backpack. It's not
doesn't-
Michael
It
Jordan.
doesn't help that I don't go to class, so you can't see my backpack. But Pod, I got a Michael Jordan backpack. I'm Team Michael
Look,
Jordan. But bro,
The 2028 President of the United States is not completely out of fault, Stephen A. Smith. But look,
that's insane.
if Bronny was the one to go up to Stephen A. Smith and confront him, I would be like, fuck, like hell yeah, Bronny,
Stand up
like
for yourself.
you should, you should. You stand up for yourself. Let him know. But that is not LeBron James Sr.'s position to go and do that for a professional athlete who's 21 years old.
Man, and like I'm saying, bro, it's like it'd be different if this is Stephen A. talking about Bronny while he's in high school. LeBron has 100% the right to do that. But like, for him to do that, and your son is on the team, like, what are we talking about, bro? Like, he could defend himself if he felt like what Stephen A. said about him was disrespectful. Give Bronny the platform 100% to speak for himself, be his own person, and defend himself. He doesn't need dad.
Dad, please.
But it's also, I understand that, but it's also another thing of you calling LeBron James a bad father because of the platform that you put Bronny in. Like, that is just insane. Come on, like you're not gonna get pissed off if somebody calls you a bad father because you help your kid out to get him to a position that you've worked your ass off for.
LeBron James knows the media landscape, and he knows what is going to be said if he does that with his son. Mm-hmm. And he still went ahead and did it. So, like, he knows that's what's going to happen. As the face of the league for the last 20 years, he knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, but then it's like, I understand. Yeah, the quotations is crazy. This dude.
Runs in the league.
I understand that point. I understand the media landscape, all of that. Yes, he 100% does. But then it's like at the end of the day, though, now you're coming to me as a father. Like, you're coming at me as a father for that. Like, that is just, I just think that's insane. That was the crazy part about that, though. And mind you guys, Lunga has a Michael Jordan jersey on right now.
I'm a Michael Jordan guy too. I know Jordan's better than LeBron person, but we're spending so much time talking about LeBron James's son. That's crazy. The Prince, the glorious Prince. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
All I'm saying is anyone that averages a triple single in college as a freshman should not be in the NBA.
He had a car.
I mean, he lit.
Give him another year. Look, I don't disagree with like him. Like, of course, yeah, he shouldn't have been drafted, and of course, I'm gonna also agree with you when you're saying like, and your point, nepotism is everywhere. So it's like it's gonna be a thing. Sure. Of course, I'm gonna have my opinion on that. Of course, he shouldn't have been drafted, but I can't knock LeBron for doing for his son what everybody else would do for their kid. But
I mean, everyone can agree that it's one of those things where it's like Bronny is benefiting from obviously his dad, and there's nothing wrong with that. If we know that Bronny has talent, he's going to get more of an opportunity to develop. It's like in real world, if your dad is the CEO of a company, you're probably going to get a job right out of college and get time to mature to get to a role of taking over his spot. It's going to happen. So I just don't understand why we keep talking about Bronny when Bronny is not newsworthy right now. He's been drafted. He's doing his thing. There's no need to keep talking about how he's on the team. He's on the team. Whether you like it or not, he's on the team. And so I just didn't understand why Stephen A. Smith had to say that to begin with. That's the whole point that I'm saying. I get that you're mad or you just don't understand why Bron would do that, and I can understand that completely. But just like what you're saying, if someone says, hey, I've done so much to get to this place, and I'm just trying to give my son an opportunity to ball, and now you're calling me a bad father. Like, he's not a bad father. Like, he's just trying to help his family out. Right. His son wasn't that great in college. I get it. But also he said his goal was to play with his son. And so if he wants to do that, why not? Let him go do it.
I think another newsworthy thing is the fact that the Dallas Mavericks are warming up with 7 people right now. Good job, Nico Harrison. Good job, buddy.
They should call me.
Yeah, good job.
They call me.
If you're in the Dallas area, strap up. You're playing basketball tonight. And it better not be you, Dak Prescott.
I was just saying, Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott at the one.
Dak Prescott.
Zeke about to pull up fat as...
He's
Last
about to
point.
have as many turnovers as he does in a real football game.
Last point about Bronny. That was not the only year that Bronny could have been drafted. He was a freshman. All LeBron had to do was wait one more year. The man is still averaging 30 in the association. LeBron James will be in the league for another 2 to 3 years. All he had to do is wait one more year. Give him one more year at USC. Let him average double-digit points. And then I don't think any of the... Nobody said anything if he got drafted in the second round.
We didn't think he was going to get to... We didn't think LeBron was going to play for another, 2... LeBron thought he was going to play another year or two. And then...
He wants people to talk about
Yeah, but you gotta be honest. Luka being traded added another 2 years to his career. Sure. So he's now thinking about it like, oh, okay, well now he might play another 3-4 years. But back then, when Bronny was being drafted, he was uncertain. He might have, because they had AD, they kept losing in the first or second round, they kept losing to the Nuggets, so he's gonna hang it up. You keep losing to the Nuggets, you know what I mean? But now it's like, oh, okay, now we have years, so now it looks like we could.
It's amazing what happens when you get a top 5 player in the NBA, right? You actually become good.
Yeah. Nico Harrison, you're still tweaker of the year.
And I'm not gonna get too deep into this because I'm sure you guys will talk about this on another episode. But my opinion, I think that move getting Luka is the opposite. I think it's Bron being able to close out his career and the Lakers having somebody that can build off of. Yeah. Compared to, I think they had a lot more firepower defensively and with Anthony Davis. And that's just my humble opinion, but we won't get into all that. So.
When Anthony Davis is not in the hospital.
Yeah, when he's not in the hospital.
When Anthony Davis is in the hospital. Yeah, I mean, I think we've said what we said. So yeah, Kendrick Perkins, Charles Barkley. There's a feud going on. Charles kind of came at Kendrick's neck a little bit, and some networks.
Tweet back a little bit.
Yeah. Toussaint has a little rant.
So this rant is not just about Charles Barkley and what he said. It's also about my I've been having this I don't want to say hate because hate is a strong word, but dislike for seeing as many athletes on TV recently, because a lot of times companies are more for the entertainment and they want to get a big name. So you're seeing people who
There's no way they could see that. But anyway.
There's just a lot of athletes on TV, and a lot of them are unqualified to speak on sports. They might have played the sport, but they don't have the right knowledge to analyze. And so, no offense to Charles Barkley, Hall of Famer, knows basketball. His analysis is completely wrong. If you watch his takes, he's talking about, well, why are we talking about the Lakers? I can tell you why, because they got a top 5 player that they just got at the deadline, and now they won 12-2 in their last 14 or something like that.
Something like that, right?
That's why we're talking, because they're interesting. You got Bron and Luka, who are practically the same player, right? They just jumped 3 spots in the West, so now they're number 2. Who hasn't been talking about OKC and the Cavs? What are you talking about, Chuck? He's saying, "Oh, we're not talking about them now." That's all I see is OKC and Thunder, OKC and Thunder,
yeah.
and that's fine. You can talk about OKC and Thunder, but because they're the number 1 seed, they're always going to be talked about. We should talk about teams that are surging. That's why the Warriors are so talked about, because they just got a trade, and they're now surging in the West. That's why you talk about things that are interesting. So I don't understand why somebody who's so wrong, because at the beginning of the year he said the Lakers aren't going to be shit, they're not going to do this, they're not going to do that. I just don't understand why at the beginning, why can't he admit that he's wrong about this, right? And so that's my thing. I just don't like when former players get up on TV and they're so wrong, and then they just double down and don't understand analysis. I understand you might not like the Lakers, maybe you don't like Bron, whatever the case is. You have to give them their props. They're good now. They're second in the West. So for me, it stems to the whole players like being analysts. Like, I have respect for players like Nate Burleson. I met him like last year, and he was talking about how he took classes and he did radio stuff. And he was like, he worked hard to be a journalist so that he could be good at his job. He didn't just, one day wake up, retire, and then said, I need a job, so let me hop on a TV screen. Like most of these guys, like he's actually doing like work. And so to me, it's an insult to my craft whenever they give jobs to athletes and they don't know what they're talking about. And I like Chuck. He's entertainment, but you don't go to Charles Barkley for analysis, so I just don't understand why you had to come out the Lakers like that. It just didn't make any sense.
And that was an interesting point you brought up about the athlete to kind of commentator or TV analyst pipeline. And also, although I disagree slightly, I still do. I feel like I like, seeing athletes on the TV screen because I feel like it brings some excitement seeing a player that you know or used to love watching or whatever the case may be, seeing some of their personality on the TV screen.
Yeah, just to clarify, I don't mean like all athletes.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying.
Like Shannon Sharp is not a journalist, but I like Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, but I also do get your point too, because being a former player myself, I could tell you a lot of these athletes are just good at what they do. Yeah. They don't, I'm not going to say Chuck doesn't love basketball, but a lot of them don't love basketball like people think they are. It's like a job to them. Mm-hmm. So some of them will play and go home. They might not even know the whole roster of the other team. And it will surprise you how many people don't watch other NBA teams, don't know the other NBA rosters, don't know the other players like a lot of the fans do, or a lot of the analysts who take this, do this for a living, go to school and study the craft. So I 100% get your point there.
I went to high school with a guy, and he didn't even know anything about basketball in the NBA. He said he never watched the game.
Yeah, and even on the other side, like Kendrick Perkins, I mean, not a good analyst at all. Kendrick Perkins is
negative.
Kendrick Perkins is terrible. He's terrible. He is terrible. Like Kendrick Perkins. Kendrick Perkins is terrible, and
he's the Kendrick Perkins of announcing.
Yeah, and so it's a great point that you bring up, Toussaint, of like, all of these networks keep hiring these athletes, and like at the end of the day, they understand what it takes to be an athlete, yes, but on the other side, a lot of them don't understand what it takes to be a journalist. At the end of the day. And so I think that's where a lot of these athletes get lost in that stuff of like, they'll go on TV and they can speak to, a certain point of, an athlete's perspective. And then a lot of times they get on TV and they're biased. Yeah. And as a journalist, you are not supposed to be biased at all. Like, that's just not, you're taught to be unbiased from day one as a journalist. And so a lot of the times, and they hold grudges. TNT, that show on TNT, absolutely amazing. That is absolutely. The show is absolutely amazing. I love watching them, but it's grudge after grudge after grudge, and it's not good for the athletes who are playing right now, because then we've seen it. Like, we've seen athletes call them out on the grudges that they've held as former players, as former athletes, and so that's where I get pissed off about it in that area. But yeah, I think you bring up a great point of that.
And not to be too pro Chuck, but I do feel like when you're going to inside the NBA, that was the show's called? Yeah, inside the NBA. Like, you're going more for it for like.
Is he watching NASCAR?
He said enough for you.
NASCAR is better than the NBA anyway. You're going for, I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, for like the comedy of it and like their banter between Shaq and Chuck. But when ESPN, they're giving him Kendrick Perkins more and more, and like they're going for him for actual analysis. And that man knows zero ball. He has no personality. Like, why does ESPN keep giving this man more and more airtime? And so I'm like, for at least for Charles Barkley, like, he gives you something. Like, he gives you the comedy of it and the banter. What is Kendrick Perkins bringing to the airways? Like, I don't get it.
What is he bringing to the airways?
Man, I hate hearing Kendrick Perkins, man. I swear, bro. But I really feel like ESPN, and they just need to find a balance. You know what I mean? Like, you got the comedy part.
Because fired everybody.
Yeah, man. You got to have the comedy part, and part where the players are giving their perspective on the game, but also, you gotta have a part where you actually have analysts who are professionals and know the game and know how to analyze it, talk ball and talk real skills and stats and break the game down. You know what I mean? We don't want to hear an NBA player who doesn't really know how to break the game down and talk, stats and like Kendrick Perkins, for example, breaking down the game, bro. If anything, we want to see NBA players showing their personality. That's what they're there for, not to, do all the breakdown and all that mess. But
and ESPN, ESPN quick. They have a guy like Tim Legler,
Yeah.
who is like really ball knowledge, amazing, and you maybe see him on SVP Sports Center for about a 5-minute segment. You never see him.
That's another one real quick. SVP, amazing. SVP is a legend, and they have him on the midnight slot. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why?
It's everything wrong.
I don't understand that. I really don't. And real quick before you go, one thing I want to know is it's not like they can't do it because they do it with NFL. NFL is their coverage is amazing.
You're stealing what I was.
Ryan Clark, Dan Orlovsky, they are amazing at what they do. They went to school with it. They put the work. They know exactly. They learned from the top.
Get Up's the role player show of all shows, but it has exactly what you need.
Yeah.
And
it has an aspiring journalist, someone who's been in the industry forever in Greeny, who Blake met while Toussaint and Lunga met him. Toussaint and I were covering golf. Like, you have Orlovsky, you have an insider like Schefter, same thing, Michigan Northwestern Pipeline, and then you have, like, role players, but they know exactly what their craft is. Dan Orlovsky's film reviews are some of my favorite things. He's one of my favorite analysts out there. Mina, when she's on Get Up, knows ball. She's a queen. They have so many others. Like, I don't mind Jeff Saturday. Go Tar Heels, by the way. And so, like, that's what you need. ESPN has the biggest drop-off from NFL to NBA coverage. And also, like, Chuck saying that the Cavs and Thunder don't get attention. Bro, they've been on your broadcast schedule. Didn't the Thunder play on TNT last night? Didn't you guys literally, the second the Celtics lost to the Cavaliers, though the game was on ESPN, you reacted to that? So it's not like you're throwing them away. And also, it's LeBron James and Luka Doncic. They're must-see TV. Even though they might not be the best team, LeBron is one of the best sports players to ever exist on this earth. And Luka Doncic is Luka Doncic. I think it's that simple. So keep crying. And by the way, you'll cover them when the finals come if you really think they're that good. You will.
Yeah, that's why I like shows like I like watching First Things First because like First Things First is like 3 journalists. It's as much as I don't really like Nick Wright in terms of his takes and his like he has like an overbearing personality. Like he's a journalist and he gives you good analysis. Yep. Chris Broussard covered the NBA since like the 90s. Yep. You got Kevin Wilde who was a producer and knows his way around TV. So you got 3 guys who know what they're doing. They're not former players who are coming up with terrible takes. Half the time I'm watching players come up with terrible takes. So who was it? Cam Newton. I saw Cam Newton. I like Cam Newton's personality, but he should not be on TV. No offense, he just shouldn't. Like, and they're just bringing on. And the thing about ESPN too is that they just bring on like random players. Like, I like Gilbert Arenas. He has good commentary. He does. I was like, why is he on a random Thursday? What is Gilbert Arenas doing on a random Thursday? I like Gilbert Arenas though. Shout out to Gil's Arena. It's a good show.
And I mean, it's not all. You got to consider it's not all ESPN's fault because like that is what sports fans want nowadays because
it's all Nico Harrison's fault.
Because you have a show like shout out our goat J.A. Donde. You have a show like Around the Horn.
Professor. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. You have a show like Around the
There's
Horn.
a reason he's in the Hall of Fame.
Come on, Pop, Professor. Come on, Pop.
Hey, we'll do the MJ LeBron debate. Your favorite. Your favorite.
But you have a show like Around the Horn that actually gives you great analysis because they bring on people like Mina Kimes, Pablo Torre, J.A. Donde, who actually know ball, but people don't watch it anymore. They want things like First Take, where it's just like it's garbage, truly.
Loud yelling.
Yeah, and so you really can't blame ESPN for going that route when that's what people watch. And when you go for TV, you're gonna keep showing what people watch.
You bring up a great point, and you absolutely can't blame them. It's just sad. Like at the end of the day, it's just sad because I grew up watching like the greats on ESPN and. No athletes, by the way. No. When I grew up, when we grew up watching ESPN, no athletes at all.
First Take might have been the first generation.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's a real show. PTI.
So yeah, PTI, yeah, absolutely. So it's at the end of the day, it's just sad.
Rip PTI.
Yeah, it's sad. Yeah, we're gonna move on to college basketball really quick. We have a loaded slate.
This is my roommate Josh. Josh, go into the camera. Take a seat. Take a seat. Josh weighs in at, Josh is 5'7", weighs in at probably like 300 pounds. But the worst quality about Josh, he is a very talented man camera. Very talented, studying for the MCAT, going to be a doctor, going big things in this world. The worst quality that Josh has is he is a Duke fan. He is a Duke fan. He went to Duke for 2 years. And then he left Duke because everybody leaves Duke because it sucks. That's his worst quality. Josh is going to do great things in this world. He's going to cure cancer. I fully believe it. The one thing he can't cure is his disease that he is a Duke fan. All right, Josh, Duke Carolina tomorrow. And Pod, we made a bet. If Duke wins by 6 or more, I got to wear that Duke shirt in the studio on Tuesday. They don't. I don't know. We're still trying to figure out, me and Josh. But do you have anything to say about just Duke Carolina?
Yeah, DDMF. If you know, you know.
I do know what it means. All right.
That's it.
Love. Top of the key.
So unlike Jake, I actually went to Carolina. Let me preface it with that.
Yeah, I didn't even go to
He
Carolina.
didn't go to Carolina.
I just grew up a fan.
Went to Carolina. When you look at this game, right, this means more for UNC than it does Duke, right? You have second team in the country versus the second team out, according to Joe Lenardi. UNC is not going to win this basketball game. Let's make that clear. UNC is not going to win this. No matter what Jake tells you after I talk here,
It took the Avengers 2 times to beat Thanos.
Carolina is not going to win this basketball game.
Hey, clip it, they would.
But
Exactly.
here at Carolina, we take moral victories.
You got pebbles. You don't even have Infinity Stones. You got pebbles.
Come on.
Here's what Carolina needs to do, right? Ever since they went to a 3-forward lineup, which I've been calling since November, and Hubert Davis didn't listen, but ever since they did it, they have been a much better basketball team. Some could say the hottest basketball team in the country. One could say.
Some could say.
Josh
said it the other day.
Some bad analysts.
Yeah.
Let's pump them brakes.
Josh said they're the hottest team in the country the other day. You should have heard him talk about North Carolina.
Duke has the tallest lineup in college basketball, and Hubert Davis thought in the first matchup that it'd be smart to run out a 4-guard lineup. So our smallest lineup against Duke's tallest lineup, and guess how that went? We got smoked. But with the 3-forward lineup,
You'll still get smoked.
we'll still get smoked, and we're at home. We'll still get smoked. But you keep that within single digits. You cover that basketball game. You have the momentum still riding to the ACC tournament. You win 2 games in the ACC tournament. You win a game in Dayton, first 4 out, and some are saying could be the 7th national championship. So, it's a big game.
Some Kendrick Perkins analysis.
It is 7, right? Did I get that right? 7 national championships that we win?
5.
Some skip baby.
Oh, no, 7.
7. Go Heels.
Josh, before we let you go, do you have anything else to say? To us, the podcast, Duke, Carolina, anything?
No.
I cannot wait until North Carolina beats Duke tomorrow. And you could clip this right now, and if it doesn't happen, it'll go everywhere. North Carolina's beating Duke, and Cooper Flag's a bust. My job.
That hurt.
Goodbye.
Let's be clear. This man making the bet that if UNC loses by more than... That was the worst bet of all time, right? That man...
This guy bet on Canada. Actually, it won.
Yeah, and I won. And I might bet on Duke tomorrow. I'm gonna channel my inner Shannon Sharp here. Duke, Puke, Luke, Heels in 5. Heels in 5.
Hey, honestly, I don't know what it is with me, but I always kind of like playing devil's advocate a little bit, man. Look, I feel like Duke, North Carolina is one of the biggest yin-yang moments in all of sports, man. No matter who sucks and who's great, I feel like it always balances out at the end of the day. I don't know if anybody knows the record off the top of their head, but it's pretty damn near
In the
crazy.
past 100, it's 52-48. Duke.
Yeah, so I feel like
Yeah.
it's only a matter of time until North Carolina evens it out. So I feel like I wouldn't be that surprised if North Carolina pulled off the upset tomorrow.
Is it at Chapel Hill?
It's at Chapel
It's in
Hill.
Chapel Hill.
Hey.
At the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. Duke's gonna win. You guys know where I stand. Diehard Michigan fan, but at the end of the day,
That's what he meant to say.
been a big Duke guy since Austin Rivers and them. So
I was at that game.
yeah, that game, that buzzer beater,
I was there.
That's a crazy game.
that buzzer beater.
I was
That's what made me have a liking towards Duke. So, yeah, man. You guys might cry tomorrow. I don't know. I mean, you guys know you guys are going to get your ass handed to them, so it's
Like,
the
if
bar's low.
they lose by single digits, like, I'll say I was a win.
Really?
That's how sad it is, yeah.
Okay.
You're taking a moral victory?
That's sad.
Bro, we get Carolina.
That's
we get
sad.
all victories.
In all seriousness, I know I go on this stuff pod because I'm me, but Duke is so dominant. They are one of the 2 best teams in the country, depending on whether you think it's him or Auburn. Cooper Flagg's ridiculous. Knuppel could shoot it from anywhere. Kuma
Let's go, baby.
Kuma and Maluak, when he's not throwing up on the court, he's a really good big. They got a bunch of guys there deep. John Shire's a great coach. Duke is dominant. I wouldn't be surprised if they won it all. They're not going to win it all, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I'd honestly rather Carolina get absolutely smacked tomorrow than them lose by single digits because it's just going to hurt more. And we watched the first Duke-Carolina game of the year at a Barstool bar. Me, Lunga, Toussaint, and then this Canadian guy named Will, who's come up a few times. And yeah, Lunga and I were miserable. Like we were. It was bad. It was really bad. Tomorrow though, took the Avengers 2 times to beat Thanos. We're gonna go back to that. Heels by a million.
In the words of Soul Illuminati, it's simple. Duke's gonna win. It's pretty simple. I'm gonna have to go Blue Devils. Like, I mean, you're talking about Cooper Flag. You're talking about. Shout out Soul Illuminati. Yeah, it's gonna be Duke. Sorry to disappoint y'all.
One, I'll bring up the 2022 team, who was on the bubble coming into Cameron Indoor Stadium. This year it's in the Dean Smith Center. But they were on the bubble in 2022, and then they went in and heavy underdog against Duke in the final game of the regular season.
Last game.
They won that game, and they took it to a national championship up 15 at halftime. We don't talk about the second half. And also, no matter what ESPN tries to tell you tomorrow, because they're going to try to hype up this game and be like, UNC has to win it. If they don't win it, they're not going to be in the tournament. And they're going to say this to hype up this game and make people watch it. UNC does not have to win this basketball game. They could lose this basketball game by 30. If they win 2 games in the ACC tournament,
They could.
they
very well might.
They could lose by 40. If they win 2 games in the ACC tournament, which one of them being quad 1 like against a Clemson, they are in the ACC tournament regardless of what happens tomorrow. So UNC can only help their case tomorrow. They cannot hurt it. Let's make that clear.
I think it's time.
Duke by 25. Moving on to the game. Michigan State. I'm going to start this one off because I will admit we've been playing like shit.
You playing like Chris in the park. That's what you playing.
Michigan's been playing like shit.
Yeah.
Turn the ball over, careless with the ball on the offensive end. Can't play a lick of defense. Can't stop a nosebleed, if we're being completely honest. It's going to be tough going into East Lansing and beating Michigan State, especially how hot they are right now. They were
Especially
how hot they are right now.
Go green, baby.
But I tell you what.
Go green, go white, can't read, can't.
I tell you what.
You don't need to read and write, man. We gotta win national championship.
I'll tell you what though. In March, Michigan does the damn thing.
The calendar goes January, February, Izzo.
Yeah, and it hasn't been like that for 20 years. Hasn't been like that for 20 years. If we're going to be completely honest, it should go January, February, Michigan.
When has it ever been Michigan? When was the last time they won a national championship?
Yeah,
When was the last time Michigan State's won it?
I think Uncle Glenn, I can call him up.
Yeah.
What's
When was the last
the?
time Michigan won a
Back in
national
my day.
championship?
Oh, wait. Hold on.
They have the 3-point line yet?
Wait. We were all born in 02, right?
Yeah.
That's correct. 03?
03.
Oh, well, doesn't matter. Because when's the last time Michigan State's won a natty?
They were the last team to win a Big Ten national championship in the Big Ten. So I know it ain't Michigan.
So 2000, right? That's the year? 2001. So we weren't born. We're 22 years old. Is that correct?
21.
20. You're 21.
No, you're 21.
You're 21.
Benedict Arnold was 21.
We're all 22, right? So 21, 22
At some point.
hasn't been Izzo's year for our whole lifetime.
It's been a little bit.
Is that correct?
It's been a little bit.
That's been a little bit, hasn't it? I think the rust is there. I think the rust is there. And I think Michigan's got a way more proven track record in the past couple of years than what Izzo's been doing.
Sure.
So my point is, I think when March comes around, we've got a better fucking chance of getting there than Izzo does. Just holding on to past 22 years, 23, 4 years of, yeah. You know, so, yeah. Hey, Michigan by 10.
All I know is we got dogs on our team, baby.
Oh, the Spartan.
My boy Jade Akes, dog. My boy Trey, dog. Young Rich. Oh my! Is he not the best freshman in the Big Ten right now?
Big Ten freshman of the year.
Shooting almost. Is he close to 60% from the
Yeah.
field as a guard?
No,
bro.
he's
Like, you
disgusting.
don't never see that, man.
Tell them boys stay on Harper's.
Hey, that's what getting them number one seed in the Big Ten to keep them going to Harper, man. Shit. But look, man, I think it's gonna be a close one. I really do like Michigan's team. I like those bigs, man. They're dominant, especially a guy with the handle. What's his last name? Blake. Got a nice handle on it on the ball. Donaldson.
Yeah.
He's a dog, man. I really like him. But I'm going I gotta go with my Spartans, man. It might be a close one, but
I want to point out that he was a Michigan fan his whole life before he went to Michigan State.
Nasty work. That's nasty work.
He was a Michigan fan his whole life. That is a fact. He was a Michigan fan. I will pull up pictures of young Matai Swain in Michigan Wolverine gear. And Lunga, you're not going to run from me either, buddy, because this guy right here was a Duke fan before he attended North Carolina University. So these two boys are not off the hook. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to point that out to you guys. We're not going to let shit slide here.
At least we went to the universities that we're a fan of. You know what I mean? Did you go to Michigan?
I hear you cheering for the Eastern Michigan.
Did you go to Michigan?
Are you cheering for them? My boy Jalen Cherry's been killing.
basketball doing?
Hey,
Hey, Imani was.
I have a justifiable reason
I'm here.
that I was born into Michigan fans' family.
Okay.
And also, my stepfather, who has been in my life for quite a long time, since I was probably 6 years old, season ticket holder, graduate of Michigan University. That's where my fandom lies. I will pull pictures up of young Blake McQuarrie in Michigan Stadium, 5 years old, rocking Michigan shit. And I ain't full of sense.
A quick comment, man. He's not lying. He's not lying. But I will say this, man. I've always been a fan of Michigan State basketball. I'll still, even to this day, I still will lean Michigan football. I can't quite quit them. I always like Michigan football. But grew up a fan of Mateen Cleese, Mo Pete. Those are some of my mentors, man. Flintstones, baby. So shout out to Flintstones. So I've always been, a Michigan fan. Same thing with me. Mom graduated from Michigan, grew up in a Michigan household. But, hey, Michigan State basketball, baby, you can't beat that. Go green.
I don't know if you know this yet. I went to Michigan for a year.
What?
Yeah. As the one person in the room that went to the University of Michigan.
You got some credit, man.
Yeah, the one person in the room that did Hunter Dickinson's homework. The one person in the room that was there when Michigan went on an Elite Eight run. Michigan basketball gave me some of my best memories from my year in Michigan, and trust me, there were a lot of good ones. To all my Michigan friends watching this, I hate you too. This is the best Michigan State team I've seen in 10 years.
Yeah.
Jeremy Fears, Jaden Akins, Trey Holloman in the backcourt. You got Jace Richardson, Big Ten Freshman of the Year. You got 4 big men in Xavier Booker, Jackson Kohler, Carson Cooper, and Simone Zavala. I don't even know if his name's Simone, but his last name's Zavala. So, whatever. Frankie Fiddler's been playing better lately. Sparty's good. I'll say the thing I'll say about Michigan, which is They have the potential to be really good. Vlad Golden's going to be all first team. Danny Wolf is a freak.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Wolf is nice.
Danny Wolf's nice.
Wolf is nice. Wolf is nice.
With that being said, and with I got my University of Michigan transcript in the other room. I'm not showing you it because then Northwestern University wouldn't have admitted me. Sparty by 20 tomorrow.
Yeah.
On senior night, Sparty by 20.
MSU, you got a weak crew. Your team is through. Michigan in 5. Give me the Wolverines, boy. You know who I picked to win the Big Ten? The Wolverines. You know who I picked to go on a run? The Wolverines. Now, obviously, they have been trashed down the stretch. They lost to Maryland. They lost to who else? Illinois.
That's what they
They shouldn't have lost to Illinois. That's a bad loss. I understand that Michigan has not been playing the best. I understand Michigan State is on a hot streak. I think Michigan comes through, and I think they say, okay, we need to get back on track. We need to regain our seeding. We need to stabilize ourselves. This is the one to do it. At Michigan State, number 8 in the country. This is it right here. I think the bigs go crazy. I think Vlad and Wolf go for 25 to 30 each. I think Donaldson goes for 18, like around 18 points. I think they limit Holloway. Holloman. I said Holloway. My bad. Holloman. And they limit Cohen Carr.
No, they're not limited, though.
No, they limited Cohen Carr.
They ain't limited.
They limited Cohen Carr. He can have his 10 points. He can have his 10 points. He can have his 10. Yeah. He can have his 3 dunks and his 10 points.
You know what? I'll live with him being limited, but as long as Rich give me my.
That's what I was about to say. I think
You never gave a prediction.
You know what I think? You know what I think though? I think they locked down Rich. I think they say, okay, he's the real damage. I think Donaldson plays great defense. I think Burnett comes in, plays some great defense. I think they lock it down.
I'm the one person in the room that has no connection to either team. So that's an unbiased opinion.
You're the
right?
real tiebreaker.
I talked a lot of shit about Michigan. But there was one thing that you said that I agree with. Tom Izzo is a fraud in March. He is the most overrated coach to ever live. Give me the Wolverines
Yes, sir.
to shock everyone in East Lansing and come out of Michigan State with the W. I think Michigan either is going to lose in the first round by 20 or they're going to win the national championship. Like, there's no in between. The cardiac Wolverines, there's something about them. Like, I'm buying into them. Give me Michigan.
And I end this by saying, quote from the Great Five, the Fab Five.
Wait.
Crybaby.
Time out.
No.
Time out.
North Carolina has won the national championship.
No.
You can put that out here.
Crybaby. Soft. Pretty boy. A bitch.
Tom Izzo?
Michigan in 5. Do we want to just do rapid fire?
Yeah, we'll rapid
Just rapid fire the rest of them. We'll start Bama, Auburn, rapid fire. I got Bama.
I like those Auburn boys, man. Give me Auburn.
Auburn.
You think I'm going to rapid fire Auburn? You're wrong. Bama's been bad. Auburn's ridiculous. Janai Broome, Denver Jones, Miles Kelly, Chaney Johnson, Dylan Cardwell. They're so good. They're the best team in the country. Auburn. Watch out. Aiden Holloway is going to have a big game tomorrow returning to the Plains, but Auburn.
It's gonna be Auburn. Bama is sliding. They've lost 2. They're 2-4 in their last 6 games. They're sliding. I think Auburn continues the trend, and they're at Auburn, so they lost when they were at home last time. They're gonna lose again.
St. John's Marquette. I got St. John's. Red Storm's hot. Yeah. Shout out Patino. Amazing things that he's been doing with St. John's.
I see St. John's is a big underdog in this game, but I got them going as well. Give me St. John's.
Give me St. John's and something to watch for this game. If Marquette does beat St. John's, that would hurt UNC's bubble chances since Xavier's quad one win is against Marquette. And, UNC needs them to keep sliding because UCLA ain't that good.
They're not.
It's crashing out every other game.
St. John's went into stores and beat UConn. They won't have a problem going into Milwaukee and beat Marquette. I'll leave it like that. St. John's, I genuinely think, will win a national championship, and they're going to win tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm doing it off the fact that Rick Pitino wore that white suit. That was fly.
He made sure to white balance.
The white suit was fly. It's obviously gonna be St. John's. I mean, Marquette's gonna slide. They're gonna lose this game. Like, it's just St. John's. St. John's has been on one this year. Shout out Rick Pitino.
One more point about the white suit. If St. John does lose this game, it's because of Jimmy Fallon. Not sure if y'all saw that the other day.
That was hilarious.
It was hilarious, but also the most cringy thing I've ever seen in my entire life. They sang a sea shanty with the entire St. John's team and Rick Pitino. It's awful. So if they lose, it's because of that, and we blame Jimmy Fallon.
Kentucky, Missouri. I got Mizzou.
Is it at Missouri?
It's at Missouri. I really like Missouri right now. I think they're going to be a threat in the SEC tournament, and I think they're going to be a threat in March Madness.
This is the one shout out I'll give because I wouldn't want you to have like for this. Mark Mitchell, he's been so good for Mizzou.
Yeah,
and he's a Duke guy.
absolutely.
A rare respect
He's been
for someone that wants to do.
Dominating. He's been dominating for Missouri, so I got Missouri.
Man, Missouri has got this cat on their team. I will say I haven't been as tapped into college basketball as I needed to be. Just busy working, man. But they got this kid. I cut on the TV one time and saw him shooting the lights out of this, man. Somebody give it his name. Man.
Anthony Robinson?
Caleb Grill.
White guy?
Yes.
Yeah, Caleb Grill.
He shoots the blood out the ball, man. Woo, give me Missouri.
And he's got hops too.
I don't know why I keep buying into this Kentucky team, but I'm still buying in every March. Every March. I think I had Kentucky going to the final. I mean, it was a Calipari team, but every year I buy into Kentucky going into March, and every year they suck. But I'll give you Kentucky.
I'm not bought into Kentucky at all. Jackson Robinson being out for this season sucks. But one of my favorite movies that I've talked about with Josh, High School Musical. Wildcats everywhere. Wave your hands up in the air. Yeah, I see you dancing back there, Josh.
That would be worse than the Sea team, bro.
Yeah, I don't care. Give me the Wildcats. That I love High School Musical. What are you going to do about it?
No, I know.
I'm actually going to.
Yeah, we're doing predictions. You got a Kentucky-Mizzou prediction?
Kentucky, Missouri.
Yeah. I predict Mizzou.
Okay.
Got another Missouri.
I know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
There we go.
Missouri's lost last two. They lost to Vanderbilt and they lost to Oklahoma, who were both unranked. Both of them were on the road. I think they get back to it this game. I think they're at home. I think they see that Kentucky's ranked, and then they're like, we need to finish the season on a strong end. They're 15th in the country. If they lose to the 19th ranked team, they're gonna drop. And obviously the SEC is a tough place, so I think Missouri does. I think Mark Mitchell probably has 30. I think Caleb Grill probably has like 25. 25 in that range.
And Florida, Ole Miss. Ole Miss picked up a huge win the other night. They were looking real good. Shout out Bruce Pearl. Tremendous get for Ole Miss.
Oh, Chris Beard, not Bruce.
I'm at Chris Beard. Chris Beard. Yeah. Chris Beard. Chris Beard. I always fuck those two up. I don't know why. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Chris Beard. Tremendous get for Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Ole Miss this turn in a long time. But I'm not betting against Florida. Gators are too good, too deep. Been playing winning basketball all year. Give me Florida.
Yeah, those Gators, they are a very balanced team. But I'm going for the upset, man. Give me Ole Miss.
Really?
Yeah, give me Ole Miss.
Wow.
Florida's my pick to win the national championship, so I'm just gonna keep riding with the boys from Gainesville. Shout out Florida.
That is a hot take.
Look.
Every time I say that, people say it's a hot take. I mean, they're a one seed in the tournament. Like, I think they're the most balanced team, offense to defense, in the country. And yeah, I think Gators are nice, man.
Now, I said this on the pod a few weeks ago. Florida is a very rare team that can shoot the lights out, that can rebound. They have the best three, not the best three guards, but the best three-man guard rotation in the country with Elijah Martin, Walter Clayton Jr., and Will Rijkaard. They also went into Auburn and beat them and went into Alabama and beat them. Ole Miss isn't walking into the swamp. I think I wouldn't pick Florida to win the national championship, but I think they'll make the Final Four. It depends on who their 1 seed or 2 seed is. I really like the Gators. Todd Golden's done a great job. I'm going too long. Florida, Gators, chomp chomp, Tim Tebow.
Yeah, I wasn't so high on Florida coming in. I think they have a good roster, no doubt, but I just weren't so high on them just because they're in the SEC and because their schedule is tough. Obviously, they have to go through Auburn and Kentucky and all these teams. I didn't think they were going to get it done. Well, they have like 4 losses on the season, which is nuts. I think obviously Walter Clayton Jr. is a bucket. They got that 7'9" guy who doesn't even play. Like they got a 7'9" Taco Fall pretty much that doesn't even play. Alex Condon, he's a bucket. He dropped 20 in their last. Yeah, nice. Kind of. So I think it's gonna be Florida. Ole Miss is good. They had a great upset against Tennessee, but I think some of that was aided by the fact that they were home. They're gonna have to go on the road and play Florida. That's dangerous.
And then one last game, Arizona, Kansas.
Oh, that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. In Kansas, Allen Fieldhouse.
It's in Kansas. I don't know, man. Arizona's been up and down this year.
So is Kansas. So
Kansas has been up and down. 2 up and down teams.
flip a coin. Man.
It's gonna be tough. I think this is a 50-50 game here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go rock chalk. I'm gonna go with Kansas. I don't know. I think Arizona's struggling. Got hot. Now they're struggling. Started the year off struggling. I don't know. I got Kansas tomorrow.
Man, so coming from a guy who works in Kansas now, all my coworkers, he's Kansas State, man. I had to get you guys hit one day on how big that rivalry is to them, but
oh, trust me, Coleman Hawkins.
Yeah, but I just don't know, man. I don't really like that Kansas team, man. Ever since Hunter Dickinson left Michigan, in my opinion, he just hasn't been the same player. He's never gotten better with his right hand. He's never kind of expanded his game. Give me Arizona, man. I like my guy Caleb. He's a bucket. My guy that transferred down from Oakland. He's a pretty good player. Trey.
Yeah.
Give me Arizona.
I bet on Kansas in the game when they played Houston. When they played in Houston in Allen Fieldhouse, when Kansas was up 6 points with 13 seconds to go, and they somehow blew it. And since that game, Kansas can go to hell. Give me the Cats.
All right, I'll keep it short. There's 2 things. 1, have I ever went against Arizona in this podcast? And 2, this isn't the Wizard of Odds. Even though the game's in Kansas, Jayhawks, you're not in Kansas anymore. You guys are bad. Give me the Wildcats.
It's tough because I saw Arizona play and they looked so good, and then I went home and I watched them on TV and they look like a completely different team, and half the time they look really good and half the time it's because they're shooting fades. Like sometimes Caleb Love is hot and sometimes he's really cold. Sometimes Bradley can make it work, sometimes he can't. Yeah, y'all know.
Duke fans know too.
Yeah. I mean, Kansas, the thing about Kansas is that they're so up and down. They haven't had the greatest season. I'm going to go Arizona. I think Kansas, as good as they are, I think Kansas just doesn't have enough firepower. I think Dickinson is I don't think he has enough for this game to come through. And they need that win, so I don't think they have enough.
Yeah, interesting. It's gonna be a good weekend of college basketball. Closing out the regular season, flowing into postseason. But yeah, time to wrap it up here. Shout out to our special guest, Lunga, second time. My day one right here, Matai Swain. Yeah, as always, I know Jake's gonna want to say something real quick.
I always do.
Do you want to say it before I tell them to like, or do you want to say it?
Because we forgot a shout out.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Izzy, Riley, Grace, MSJs for telling us to do it outside the studio because this was a good idea. So, thank you guys.
Yeah, shout out to them for sure. As always, check out socials, TikTok, run that up, TalkBall.Tweakers. Go on Instagram, run that up, TalkBall Tweakers. What's up? TalkBall_Tweakers on Instagram. And as always, like, subscribe, comment, stay fly. And he's going to hold up his NC shirt.
Go Heels.